Hey friends, it is Jenna, what is up, and welcome back to the Board Game Garden, and welcome to my Level Up recap video, which I've been meaning to film this one for a while, and I'm finally getting to it. But if you guys did not know, I went to the Level Up Gaming Retreat in Woodbridge, New Jersey about 2 weeks ago. This is a gaming retreat where you literally just go there. It's a convention that is solely based on gaming. There is a little bit of an expo hall and some events and stuff, but I mainly go there to game. I love the open gaming space. Everyone is so welcoming. I have a ton of friends that go, and a lot of people from the Board Game Garden community also go, which is amazing. And it's just a really great way for me to go to a convention and actually spend time with some of the community members and friends and just have a really nice, kind of relaxing time actually getting to game, which is something that doesn't often happen at a lot of other conventions, which is quite surprising. And at some conventions last year, I tried to do that more, but most of the time conventions like Gen Con and PAX Unplugged and stuff like that do have a really big focus on work and meetings and a lot of like networking and stuff, which Level Up Gaming Retreat ends up being just a little bit more of a relaxing convention. Yeah, I'm super excited to kind of take you guys along on my trip this year. Also, quickly before I get into going over everything about Level Up, I do want to mention that I will be going to another convention very soon, and that is my local convention here in Toronto, Ontario, and that is BreakoutCon. And I will let you guys know that at the end of this video, stay to the very end, and you guys will be able to have a chance to win a 3-day pass to BreakoutCon. So stay to the end and I will give you guys all the details about the giveaway for that. I ended up flying into Woodbridge, New Jersey from Toronto on the Wednesday. So I headed to the airport and I got into my flight. I think my flight was at like 2, which I really need to start booking flights in the middle of the day like that. A lot of the times with other conventions and stuff, I have always booked my flights really early in the morning, which is not my favorite thing ever. So I really need to start booking my flights in the middle of the day like that because it was really nice. But the nice thing about the Woodbridge, New Jersey location is the fact that the flight was literally like 45 to 50 minutes. Like we got up into the air and then I like read one rule book, which when I was on the plane, I ended up actually, it's over here. I ended up reading the rule book for this game here, which I was hoping to play while I was at Level Up. Honestly, I brought like a solid 6 or 7 games and I did not play any of them, which makes me really, really sad. But if you're a board gamer, you know, everyone tends to bring more board games than they actually are able to play. And it's just options, you know, it's just options. But yeah, I read the rule book for this game here, which is called Reforest. And primarily, I'm really looking forward to playing this one solo. It really gives me the vibes of like Forest Shuffle in a way, and I always wish that Forest Shuffle had a solo mode. So this one here, I feel like I could actually just make a solo mode for Forest Shuffle and it'd be pretty easy. But this one here does have a solo mode for the game, plays 1 to 4 players, and it seems really fun. So I'm super excited to play that one at some point, but I did read that rule book on the plane. And then once I was finished reading that rule book, we were landing already. So yes, very easy, smooth flight. I got into Woodbridge, New Jersey around like 3:30 or 4. I ended up actually running into Adam Singer from Shelf Clutter, which if I talk about any other creators or friends, I will put them down in the description box. So definitely go and check them out if you have yet to do so. But yeah, I ran into Adam Singer, which was funny because last Level Up, we kind of arranged to go on the same flight and drive to the airport and stuff together, but I completely forgot to do that with him this year, and we ended up on the same flight, which was kind of funny. So when I got to Woodbridge, New Jersey, we actually ended up going to Target, and I was actually looking for the Tussie Mussy Target exclusive game from Button Shy, but I could not find it. But we got snacks and stuff, and I was staying in the same hotel room as Meg, Professor Meg, so we shared a hotel room for the event, and so we got a bunch of snacks and stuff. and then we made it back to the hotel. And then, you best believe it, we got right to gaming. So I ended up actually playing a game of Everdell Silverfrost, which I talked about recently in my top 10 games of January, which I will put up here if I can remember. But the last few videos where I've done this, I have not remembered. So I'll put it up here if I can remember. Jenna, remember. But yeah, Everdell Silverfrost was enjoyable. I enjoyed it, but I said in that video that I'm not the hugest fan of Everdell in general, and Everdell Silverfrost is honestly very much so an Everdell game. It plays very similarly, but there are some fun twists on it that they added in this one, with like snow and fire and putting your workers onto mountain spaces, which make you feel really strong and give you really strong actions. So that's fun, but overall it was a good one. I think I ended up having Silverfrost, Everdell Silverfrost, my number 10 of last month. So yes, played that on the Thursday night, and then we honestly, I think, just went to bed after that and woke up on Friday morning for the first day of Level Up. So I started off Friday playing a few small games. So I started off playing a game of Mountain Goats, which this is a game from All Play, which I had never played in person before, and I was really looking forward to it because I've loved Mountain Goats on BGA. So I've played it a ton on BGA, but I'd never played it in person. So I sat down with a full, I think it plays up to 5 players, and I think we played 5 players. It was me and Jeremy Howard, Stacy Everdell, and then a few other people, George, as well as, I think there was one more person, Andy. It was Andy as well. So I think it was the 5 of us. It was very fun. It was a good kind of starting game in the morning on the Friday. I was very sleepy, but I was super excited to play that game. So we started out with that, and then I actually moved into a game of Rebirth. This is a game from Mighty Boards, which I absolutely love this game. This is a game that I covered here on the channel, and I had a prototype. I think I might have had to send the prototype back, so I don't actually have a copy of Rebirth, and it makes me a little bit sad because that's a really, really good game. That is a Reiner Knizia game that I really enjoy. Typically, I don't love Reiner Knizia's games, but that is one that I have really enjoyed. So I played that with a few people. I think I played it with Stacy Everdell, Carrie, as well as Andy, and then myself. So it was the 4 of us, and yeah, fantastic game of Rebirth. And then we actually just sat in the same area, and Adam Singer from Shelf Clutter, he actually came over and introduced us to a small card game called Pizza Rolls, which is apparently a game that was on Kickstarter or recently fulfilled on Kickstarter or something like that. But it was a very fun surprise where basically you are trying to have the pizza be exactly what you want it to be, and people are going to be putting toppings onto a pizza, flipping over cards to make it double the toppings, or taking toppings off of the pizza. And you're doing this by playing cards down that are going to allow you to have multiple actions of either flipping a card or moving a card off the pizza on the pizza. And basically everyone just has a secret card that they have, like a bunch of different things that they want and don't want. And then once the game is finished, and I think no one else has any cards, you will then score how many victory points you get for your specific card based off of what toppings are on the pizza. So I thought it was a very cute little card game. I think it comes in like a little wallet, kind of like a button size. So yeah, that was Pizza Rolls. And then after that, I ended up meeting up with Alex from Board Game Co., as well as Professor Meg and AP, which is Alex's friend. Actually, I think Stacy Everdell ended up joining us, and we played a 5-player game of Finspan, and I really enjoyed it. But I also did talk about this one in my most recent video, which was my favorite games of January. And I think Finspan ended up being my number 9, but I don't love the theme of Finspan. I said in the video, I am not a huge fan of fish, and I will avoid any sort of game about fish for the most part. So yes, Finspan was super fun, but the theme is just not my favorite out of the trilogy trilogy of Wingspan, Wormspan, and Finspan. But the funny thing about that one is that we started with 5 of us, and then Alex had to leave halfway through, or like a third of the way through, because he had a panel to go to, so he left the game. And then I think Stacey Everdell really wanted to play a bunch of different games and didn't want to get stuck in any games for a really long time. So she ended up, after I think 2 rounds, leaving as well. So yeah, in the end, it ended up just being Meg, myself, and AP, and it was still very fun and I really enjoyed it. But once I was finished with Finspan, I actually played another game, which I don't remember what it was called, but it was this very weird, like, trying to figure out a rule by drawing things and giving it to the active player that knew the rule, and then the active player would give it back to you and either put an X or an O if it followed the rule or not. And I was so bad at that. I just kept on just drawing random things on papers. Like, I kept on drawing just like a cat and flowers and a house, and I just could not figure out the rules. But it ended up being pretty fun. I didn't love it, but I forget what the name is. If I can figure it out, I will put it here, but I honestly have no idea. So yes, that was another game that I played. And then I actually sat down with some community members as well. Apologies, I do not remember everyone's names, which there was a lot of us at that table, but we ended up actually playing a game together, which makes me really happy because one of the girls actually met at the prior year at Level Up, and we really wanted to play a game together, but we didn't end up getting to play a game together, so we were able to play one this year, which made me really happy. But yeah, we ended up playing Seas of Strife, which one of the other ladies there at the table was huge into trick-taking games, which just makes me really happy because I'm also huge into trick-taking games, and they had Seas of Strife and we ended up playing that. So that made me very happy, and I love Seas of Strife. It's one of my favorite trick-taking games, so I'm always happy to play that one. So we played that, and then I actually think we left and ended up getting food at some point. And then we ended up playing So Clover, which So Clover is a fun party game. It's like a cooperative party game. Not one of my favorite party games. I really prefer Fun Facts and Just One, Time's Up, games like that. But I think because So Clover is a cooperative game, I don't like it as much, but I still really enjoy So Clover, and I always enjoy actually doing the task of putting the clues onto the clover with the cards. I always thought that was super fun. But yeah, that was So Clover. And then once we were finished with that, there was on Friday night a little social kind of gathering thing up on the second floor where you could get drinks and just sit down and chat and play some small card games. So I ended up sitting down with a group of people that are friends and community members as well. So Stacey Everdell again, Veronica and Jonathan and Andy, as well as I believe his name was Robert, which actually, speaking of Robert, hopefully it is Robert. I'm pretty sure it's Robert. It is Robert. He actually gifted me with his game, which this is Portmanteau, which I have the hardest time saying that name. Portmanteau, which is, I guess, when you put 2 words together, like when you put breakfast and lunch together, it's brunch. Or when you put lunch and dinner, you get linner. But yeah, it's basically a party game about portmanteaus. And thank you so much, Robert, for gifting this to me. I'm very excited to play it. I'm a huge fan of this type of game, and it sounds very fun. So yes, he actually gifted me that because he is the designer of this game. But yeah, we ended up playing a few different kind of small card games. So we played Panda Panda, which is one of my more recent favorite little card games that I've been really enjoying. And then we also played Pixies, which Pixies is so much fun. And I have a copy of it, but I don't think we were playing my copy. I think we were playing someone else's copy. But that one, I feel like when you play with the max player count, which I think we were playing with the 5 of us, I could be wrong, we might have been playing with 4 of us, but it does actually take quite a long time. Or maybe we were just, you know, yapping and having a good time. But yeah, Pixies was very fun, and just hanging out with them and getting to play a few card games was really fun. So once we were finished there, I actually headed back over to the gaming hall, and I ended up playing a few more games for the night. The first one was a party game. Actually, all three of them were like smaller games, which I found that in my first day, which was Friday, I ended up playing a lot of small games. So you guys will see when we move into Saturday that I ended up playing quite a few bigger games, which makes me really happy. But yes, when I went back to the game room or the gaming hall, I ended up playing a game of Link City, which this was probably my biggest surprise of the con. I really enjoyed this one and I wasn't expecting to. But basically it is a cooperative party game. I talked about it a little bit in my most recent video as well, but basically you are cooperatively trying to figure out where the active player is putting different like building tiles in your city. So where they put the hospital and where they put the board game cafe, so on and so forth. And everyone's having to cooperatively guess where they put them based off of where the colored pylons are. It's super fun. It's super silly. Just like the reasonings behind where people put things, and then also everyone working together and like what they come up with when trying to figure it out was just so funny. So love that one. I do want to get myself a copy of that one. And then after Link City, we played another party game, which is Three of a Kind, which this was one of my favorite party games of last year. I really enjoyed this one and it is so much fun. Played it with a bunch of people and it was a good time. And then once we were finished with Three of a Kind, I actually ended off the night, but technically started off the next day because I think it went into like after midnight. But I ended up playing a trick-taking game with my wonderful friend Jay from Cardboard East, which we are actually doing a lot of collaborating this month in February for Trick-Takuary. And it was really cool because we were able to literally start off February, like very early on February 1st with a trick-taking game together. So we ended up playing with a few other people. We played with Jeff from the Dragon's Tomb as well as Zachary, and then also Jay and AP. We ended up playing a 5-player game of a game called Dokito Ice, I think is what it's called. It is a trick-taking game from Japan, I believe. But this is a trick-taking game that I really want to get. It is so cute, where basically you're playing tricks in order to get scoops of ice cream, but if you get more than 3 scoops of ice cream, then you bust. And each scoop of ice cream is going to give you 1 victory point, and then if you are able to get the scoop of ice cream that has the star on it, you will then get a like topping for that scoop of ice cream, and that's going to be an additional victory point. And in order to get these scoops of ice cream, you have to win one of the tricks, and then you get the scoop of ice cream that matches any of the colors of the suits of cards that were played into that trick. So yes, really liked that one. A huge thank you to Jay for introducing that one to me. But yeah, that was everything for Friday. Moving into Saturday. So like I said, my Friday ended up being really full of a bunch of smaller games. I guess I played a few bigger ones, like I played Rebirth and Finspan, but everything else was pretty small. And don't get me wrong, I really do enjoy some smaller games, but ultimately the bigger, chunkier games, even like medium weight games, that is something that I do prefer. So when I went into Saturday, I was like, I need to get some chunky boys to the table. So that is what I did. I actually ended up only playing 4 games in total on Saturday, which is crazy because I started playing games at like 10 a.m. and went all the way until like midnight. So you know that I played some very chunky, heavy games. And that actually started off with a game of The Gallerist from Vital Lacerda, which I actually, for the last 3 years, starting with the first level up and then the second one and then this one, I actually played a Lacerda or just a Lacerda adjacent game, because on the second year we played Rococo, which is not technically a Lacerda, but it's kind of in that kind of collection from Eagle Griffin Games. But every year I've played with the same people, which is Stacy Everdell, Andy, Veronica, and then also Jonathan has joined. He actually played Rococo with us as well last year, but we ended up deciding to play the Gallerist this year, which sadly the Gallerist only plays up to 4 players. So Jonathan actually didn't play. Him and Stacy kind of played together, and then he just kind of hung out, which I loved. Just the 5 of us together. They are some wonderful, wonderful humans, and I'm so happy that we have started this tradition and I have met them and we've began this wonderful friendship. So shout out to the 4 of you. You're all wonderful. But yes, this was definitely the like standout game of the convention for me. The Gallerist was fantastic, and I will be chatting about it more when I do my favorite games of February at the end of this month. But yes, it was so good, and I don't want to say that I want a copy of it in my collection, because I really do not need another huge ginormous game in my collection, because I'm never going to get it to the table. But honestly, the Gallerist is like tempting me because it was super fun, and I really like the like art gallery management kind of theme of it. It was really cool. So yes, played the Gallerist, which we started at 10, went into a teach, played the whole game, and I don't think I ended the Gallerist until like 1 or 1:30, which is crazy. But after I was finished with the Gallerist, I actually met up with Carly from Board Game Buzz, which I was so happy that we ended up being able to get a game in together, which the game that we did decide to play together was, again, another huge ginormous game, which we were crazy for doing this, but I actually had a lot of fun. We ended up playing Voidfall, which a huge shout out to Brian for one thing, as well as Zachary for teaching us. Mainly Brian, but Zachary was there as well to help, and we played a 4-player game of Voidfall. We didn't end up playing the whole game. We played, I think, the first round or possibly the first 2 rounds of multiple, but it was really nice to be able to get a feel for the game, because Voidfall was always a game that I was interested in. I'm not a huge fan of the theme of Voidfall. I'm just not a huge fan of like sci-fi and stuff, which I've talked about before, but I really enjoyed the gameplay of it, the like card play and stuff. Again, I will chat about it more in my favorite games of February. I'm sure Voidfall is also going to be in my top 10, but yes, really enjoyed that. Huge thank you to Brian for teaching us that, because that is a huge, ginormous game, and it is just absolutely wild how crazy that game is. But yeah, I had a lot of fun, and we were able to spend some time together, Carly and I, as well as Brian and Zachary, which again, all 3 of them are wonderful too. So yes, once I was finished with Voidfall, I think it ended up being like 5:30 at that point. So I ended up meeting up with Alex and Meg and AP again, and we really wanted to play Federation, which Alex actually brought a copy of Federation to Level Up specifically for the 4 of us to play it, because I have wanted to teach them Federation for so long. Federation is like one of my favorite games. It is just such a good game, and it is full-on sci-fi, but I still love it. Just something about the gameplay of like the worker placement, but you're having to think about so many things when it comes to the worker placement, because there's like voting power with the worker placement, and there's also like going up tracks with the worker placement. It's just such a cool game. If anyone ever wants to play Federation, which, fun fact, Federation just, or actually I don't think it just got onto BGA, but Federation is on BGA, and if you ever want to play a game of Federation with me, please invite me over on BGA. I want to play that game more. It is so good. But we ended up playing a 4-player game of that, and it was so much fun. It was so good. But yes, I was so happy that we actually did get to play that, because we've been wanting to play it for a while, and we were really trying to make it work at Level Up. It is really hard at these kind of conventions to make time for like specific people and to make sure that plans line up and stuff, because everyone's playing games at different times. And I will say that that was like the one kind of not bad thing about Level Up, but just the only like thing that kind of stressed me out was just the fact that I am always wanting to play with as many people as possible and not upset anybody, and I just want to be able to play with so many people, but it just sometimes doesn't end up happening, and I feel bad for it. But yeah, Anyways, after Federation, I ended up playing a game with Jay from Cardboard East, as well as Alex and AP. I think Meg ended up going over and playing a party game, but we played a game called, this is probably not the correct name for it, Block on Sale. That's definitely not what it is. I'm gonna have to go and look at Jay's video of his favorite games from Japan, because I think this is one of his favorite games from Japan. I will put the actual title for it right here so you guys know the name of it, but it was this very interesting abstract game, which I'm typically not a huge fan of abstract games, but I ended up playing it and it was very fun. AP and I got into a huge like bet off with this one spot that kind of screwed us both over, and I think Alex or Jay ended up winning. So yeah, it was kind of funny. It was very late at night and it was a good time. So yes, I ended off Saturday with that game and I ended up going to bed after that. All right, so moving on to Sunday, which Sunday is the last day of the convention and it actually ends pretty early in the day. I think it ends at like 5, which typically the convention would go until late at night. So we really just have like half of a day or 2/3 of a day. But I ended up getting up decently early because I had plans to play a game of Kavango or Kavango. This is a game that I really wanted to check out at PAX Unplugged, and I think it was either James, I think it was James. James ended up purchasing a copy at PAX Unplugged, and then he brought it to Level Up because he knew that I wanted to play it, and he also wanted to play it as well, and a few other people did. So we ended up arranging to play Kavango or Kavango on Sunday morning, and I was really, really happy that we did because I enjoyed that one. I think this was, again, another one that kind of stood out during the weekend because I really love games that are like pick and pass or close drafting games. So in Kavango, you have cards that you're going to be choosing one, passing, choosing, passing, and you're going to be creating this tableau of a bunch of different animals in your reserve. I think that's what it is. And you are collecting different icons that then you are going to need to play other cards, and then you're also getting these like cubes that you're allowed to put into your different categories that, again, some of the cards need you to be at a specific level of, I think it's like safety and conservation and one other thing that you have to have certain levels of in order to play out these different animal cards. Then you're also having different goals each round for the animals that you're putting into the reserve, and just overall it ended up being a really fun closed drafting tableau building game. Just some of my favorite games are those types of games. So really enjoyed that. I ended up playing that with James, which is the one that brought it, and then also Ryan and Carrie, which all three of them are friends of the channel and of just the board game community and stuff. So yes, really enjoyed that one. That was Kavango. And then once I was finished with that, I actually met up with Stacy Everdell as well as Dave, Board Game Dave, because we planned to play Stacy's new game, which Stacy Everdell, she's actually in the process of designing a game, which is called Ironworks. And this game, I think this was another one of the standouts of the entire weekend. Stacy's actually in the process of getting it signed with some publisher. She's not 100% sure which publisher as of yet, but the game, I'm telling you guys now, please keep your ears open for a game called Ironworks by Stacy Hampton, because it was absolutely fantastic. This being her first game and her being a friend and playing it, I just found it so amazing how what we were doing and what was on the table came out of her brain, and it really motivates me to get more into game design. If you guys do not know, I do have an expansion coming out with my friend Daryl Andrews for a game called Mythwind from Open Owl Studios, which that has been a really cool kind of stepping stone into designing games. But seeing Stacy's design and just seeing her like passion and like dedication to it has really motivated me to like try that for myself as well, and like try to just like brainstorm and start designing a game that's like just me. I think it would be really, really cool. It was just, again, so cool to like see the game on the table, and I can't even imagine how she must feel seeing that thing that she has created from her brain on the table, and people playing it and people enjoying it and like sitting here on camera saying that they really enjoyed it, I just think that would be so, so cool. So yeah, huge shout out, Stacy. You did a fantastic job, and I cannot wait to see that game come to life and to see a really cool final version of it and have it in my hands and playing it again. And I just can't wait for that day. So yes, Ironworks was absolutely fantastic. It is a Euro game through and through with lots of stuff going on. You're basically putting resources into this central kind of area, and you're kind of doing it cooperatively with the other players, but it is a competitive game. So I think that's a really cool aspect of the game. And the more resources that you yourself contribute into the center allows you to go up on this track, and that's going to allow you to fulfill these different orders of these machines that you're making out of metal. I forget what they're called, but there's a bunch of different things that you're doing as well, and you're getting assistance and you're using workers to go out, and it was just so much fun and definitely a highlight of my level up. So that was Ironworks. And then once I was finished with Ironworks, it was getting close to the end of the convention, and Jeff and Jamie from Foster the Meeple, some of my very, very good friends, I actually didn't end up really seeing them or talking to them a ton during Level Up because we were both just so busy. They do a really good job of spending a lot of time with their community members playing games at Level Up, and that's mainly what they go to Level Up for, is to spend time with their community members and connect with their community members and play games and stuff. So I never wanted to take time away from them doing that because that is super important. So I ended up reaching out to Jamie when it was getting pretty close, and I was like, hey, are you guys free? Do we have time to play just a small game so I get to hang out with you guys for a little bit? And we ended up actually playing an 8-player game of Camel Up, which was a lot of fun. Camel Up is actually a game that Francis and I played with Jeff and Jamie on one of their Foster the Meeple-a-thon things. I think it was actually the first one that they did. And we ended up playing Camel Up over like video remotely during that game-a-thon. So it was really cool to play that with them again. And it's such a fantastic, fun party game. And it was really nice to play it at that full 8-player count because it's just so much fun. And there's a lot of like player interaction because you're able to partner up with people, and it's just such a fun game. We kept on screaming Camel Up, and it was just a really good time. So we ended up playing that, and I was able to hang out with them for a little bit. But yeah, that was the last game technically. And then when we were actually packing up because the convention was wrapping up, my friend Ronnie, or Veronica, actually brought a game called Sonora, which is a game that I've wanted to play for so long. We chatted about playing it at the convention before, the Level Up convention before. We didn't end up getting to play it then, and then we almost didn't get a chance to play it this year. Technically, we didn't actually play it at this convention either. We set it up and played like 2 quick crazy rounds, speed rounds, because we didn't want to get kicked out of the convention hall, because I think technically it was after the time or like the Level Up ended, but we ended up playing a little bit of it, which was really fun. And it's a game that I actually want to get now because I really enjoyed the first few rounds. It is basically a flick and write, which I think is so cool. I love when publishers and designers make up fun like mixtures of blank and writes. So this one's a flick and write, there's draft and writes, just a really cool mixture of a blank and write. So yeah, you're like flicking tiles, and then wherever the tiles end up going and whatever number that tile has on it, those are going to be what you're going to be able to use on your board that you have kind of 4 different mini games on. So yeah, really enjoyed that one. But anyways, once we were finished with Sonora, that was actually my last game of the convention, and I packed up everything and I actually went out for dinner with Stacey Everdell, as well as Veronica, Jonathan, and Robert, because it was Jonathan's birthday and we took him out for dinner. We actually ended up going to a Vietnamese restaurant, which is one of my favorite cuisines, and I had to kind of rush eating because I had to catch my flight shortly after that, but Technically, I didn't because my flight actually ended up getting extremely delayed, and I don't think I actually got back to Toronto until like 1:30 in the morning. My flight initially was supposed to take off at 9 p.m., so I was at the restaurant around 7 trying to wrap up to get to the airport a few hours before my flight took off. I ended up being able to do that, but then my flight was delayed from 9 until like shortly after midnight, so I really didn't have to rush, but I didn't know that at the time. But yeah, overall, Level Up this year was so much fun. And the Level Up before, I spent a lot of time playing games for the WSBG qualifier, which was super fun. But this year, I really just wanted to play as many games with as many people as I possibly could. And I do think that I achieved that. I played games with so many people. Shout out to everyone that I played games with. A huge sorry to anybody that I wanted to play games with that I wasn't able to. But yeah, I do think overall I achieved my goal of playing a lot of games with a lot of people. There's never going to be enough time to play as many games as you want and with as many people as you want, but hopefully I'll be able to attend Level Up next year. And if you're watching this right now, I definitely recommend checking out Level Up if you just want a convention that you can go to and hang out, play games with a bunch of awesome people, and just chill and just like not have to worry about anything else. Just play games for 3 days straight. It is amazing. Definitely recommend checking it out. I will link down below the Level Up website so you know everything about when the next event is and when tickets become available and all of those things. But yeah, huge thank you to you guys for watching today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, please give this video a big thumbs up. Also, hit that subscribe button down below if you've yet to do so. We'd love to have you here in the garden. Also, comment down below if you made it to Level Up, if you had a good time. Please let me know down in the comments what games you played. And yeah, if you're thinking about coming to Level Up, please let me know down in the comments as well. I would love to know, but I'm looking forward to it in the future. But yeah, I love you guys so much. Remember, you are somebody's reason to smile, and I will see you in the next board game video. Bye, friends. Surprise! I am back because we are going to be doing the giveaway. Like I mentioned earlier in this video, I will be doing a giveaway for a 3-day pass to Breakoutcon, which Breakoutcon is in Toronto, Ontario. It is from March 14th to 16th of this year, 2025. And I have talked about Breakoutcon in the past. Breakoutcon is my favorite by far local convention here in Ontario. It is fantastic. It is very similar to Level Up Retreat, where it is just a convention full of gaming. There is an open gaming hall. There are some vendors and stuff that there are some like different publishers and stuff. I do believe that Kids Table Board Games attends, as well as Inside Up Games, which are some of the best like Canadian publishers, which I love. There's a bunch of other vendors as well, but those are some of the publishers that join. And there are a bunch of different events and stuff. And I do recommend checking out Breakoutcon if you guys are interested. I will have a bunch of links down below if you guys are interested. But if you do want to get yourself a 3-day pass to Breakoutcon, I will put all of the instructions down below for this giveaway, but this giveaway will be open for 2 weeks. And basically you just have to be subscribed here on my channel. You do have to go and follow Breakoutcon over on Instagram. I'll have that link down below. And then comment down below with the keyword Breakoutcon in your comment, and then you will be entered in to win that 3-day pass. All I ask that is if you are entering, you are able to get yourself to Breakoutcon and all of those things. But yeah, a huge thank you to Breakoutcon for doing this giveaway, and good luck to everyone. Yeah, that's everything. Bye.